Dr. Jazz.
But
Dr. Jazz.
man, thanks for finding the time. I appreciate it.
Okay, no problem.
I've played and talked with so many guys that we have in common, so nice to hear you talk a little bit about what you do. And I remember a really cool gig you did in my hometown, Maribor, like 11 years ago, with Walter, Jerry, and Dieter.
Ah, yeah.
It was a killer quartet.
Arvid Braun organized.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Let's just close the door here.
Yep.
So that I don't talk to the whole building. So here we go.
But with you, I don't know where to begin because you're super busy. It's like you're constantly working,
Yeah.
you know, this year already is some incredible stuff out. But I want to start with this Entrainment album, the last one.
Yeah.
It's a monster group, and how did this one happen, and what's the story behind it? Your Japanese connection, I mean.
How does that started? Actually, it was a reason of, I don't know. I know Steve Hazard for a long time. I know Kazu for a long time because he lives. They all live in Berlin.
Oh, okay.
No, so it's a Berlin-based band, and we were thinking about doing something, and I played at the in Berlin, like a local gig, which for the Jazz Keller 69. And then it was actually, yeah, then we got the Saarbrücken Free Jazz Festival gig, which got recorded by the
okay.
We also played several gigs in Berlin, and it got recorded by the radio, and I bought it from the radio, the recording, and released it because I liked it so much, and it was insane because I had to play unamplified.
Oh shit, really? Oh
yeah, but I have this mounting on the like microphone which you can mount on the saxophone, like with a spider, which I bought for loud bands actually, and I decided just play alto saxophone, and I had this microphone on so I could move around, and I just blew my ass off because it was a big room, very big room. And of course, Kazu, the rest was very loud, but somehow the promoter insisted that I play acoustic. It was in the middle of the night, the last concert on the festival, and it was insane. I remember Schlittenbach was there all the time watching his so. And yeah, that's how it in a way started. And we play again in this fall in Schöneweide in Berlin outside.
Oh, fantastic!
We do a concert when was it? It's in September. No, late August.
It's nice to hear you with guitar. You know, it's different.
Yeah, and I played with Kazu a lot. We did a Japan tour last year, and we do one this year again in October, late October, beginning of November, or I think, yeah. Unfortunately, only 10 days because I have to come back and he can't come earlier.
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah.
So with Kazu also plays in Skane, the band, with Achim Kaufmann, the extension. So he's a member of that now. So yeah, and I know Kazu. It was the first time when we met was when I heard him with Shelly Hirsch duo. He's a beautiful duo with Shelly Hirsch. And I was so blown away by them, how fast they are and how flexible they are, so that I decided we have to play more together. And then we both said, and I remember Kazu once said, like, our style is every style.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. So yeah, I like playing with him a lot because there's no limitations. There's nothing which is not allowed. Let's say.
Yeah.
Everything is allowed, and that's for me what improvisation and improvised music should be about. So I'm not such a big fan of like when stuff gets dogmatic, only noise, only pitch, no melody allowed because it's not avant-garde enough. So
yeah,
that's the main thing.
How do you approach this when you play solo? I listened to Artikulationen, the third one, which came out last year, and you know, I know you did the first one like in 91 or 90. And how do you approach this when you play solo? Let's say for 1 hour. I mean, that's That's a monster thing.
It's a long run. Just hang on a second. I need to close the window.
Sure.
There's like because there's noise outside. So here we go. So now it's a bit more quiet. Sorry, it's like
Oh,
not
no worries.
live here. Yeah, so the story is very simple. When I started doing solo concerts, I once got asked while I was still a student to play on a little festival, 20 minutes solo. And do you want to play with some? Yeah, sure. No? So I started playing, and I think Braxton told the same story once. And everybody tells that story. It's like I think it happens to everybody. So I played, and after 10 minutes, I didn't know what to play anymore.
Sure.
I played everything I knew. So I said, okay, this will never happen again in my life. So I started working on, like, for 1 year, almost exclusively, collecting things which are possible in solo music. So I have this list of I call it music parameters, which is interesting. It has a relation to Braxton's language type music stuff, but it wasn't directly influenced by it. It's just once you get into this moment where you're stuck, you have to sort things out.
Yeah.
So I collected everything which structures music for me. Like even like simple words we accelerando, ritardando, straight tempo, flexible tempo, staccato, legato, all articulations, just writing down. And then I was practicing, focusing on certain aspects for a little while.
That's great, yeah.
And in the beginning, the first solo record is you can hear these structures. So I used almost pieces. I had like one piece which is just about staccato,
Yeah.
but it gets denser and denser until I can't control it anymore, and then it goes further. And and I was recording myself, trying out textures, different ways, but I didn't want to have any written note in solo music. So I might change that eventually to do something else, but right now it's still completely improvised. And and I did that for almost 10 years that I worked with it. So in the beginning, I had these, let's say, can almost say etudes, like improvising etudes, like constraints. Later on, I just had all these things written on a paper completely randomly, so that if I don't know after 1 hour what to do, I look at the paper, maybe there's something I haven't done so far. Because the only way to survive is you have to keep something which you didn't do an hour before or something. So otherwise you just repeat yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
And then later on, I just played completely free. The second solo record is already completely free, and it's longer pieces. So I wanted to really go for long, like 20 minutes or longer, and just go. And then it becomes like, for me, kind of a journey to different territories. So it's like a journey you do.
Yeah.
So that's how the solo work more or less developed. And
Interesting.
yeah, and now I don't know. I think there's different things I have in mind, but I don't have the time to do it. One is to do a clarinet solo record.
Wow.
With different clarinets, because I play bass clarinet, contrabass clarinet, regular clarinet. The other thing is to make to do solo stuff with written material too. But yeah, both is kind of not right actual because I have too many things going on right now.
Yeah. Like I said, you're super busy. I mean, man, it's crazy. Which is great. I mean, beautiful. You mentioned Braxton before, and you know, when I listen to solo saxophone, obviously Steve Lacy, Evan Parker, all these guys come to mind. What was the reason you got into this music like that you do now? Let's say improvisation or jazz. Like,
I mean,
were these guys important for you, like in mid-80s or?
Totally. I mean, it's like, I think the solo stuff, I said it has to be as interesting as Braxton, Lacy, and Evan Parker.
Okay.
These were my models, and I think I succeeded. It is not the same they do, and it's
yeah, definitely.
So it's but that was my thing, and Braxton was a strong influence even in the early times, because I remember that even in school, way before I played saxophone, a guy had this Berlin Montreux record of Braxton. So I was listening to that even before I played saxophone.
Wow.
I mean, the rest was more like Chicorea, Keith Jarrett and stuff.
Really? You went through that school also? Wow.
I
Okay.
went to complete ECM.
Really? Oh wow.
Yeah.
You would not think when no.
Herr Rübdahl,
Really? Oh wow.
yeah. Even Jan Gabarek.
Oh.
But also, actually, it was Santana. When I was young, I was listening to Santana. Before that was classic rock, was Genesis,
Yeah.
Yes, stuff like that. But then Santana came, and how did that start? That was interesting. I think there's two things I saw. One, I went to a concert of Peter Gabriel in Hamburg, and it was a double bill, and the opening band was John McLaughlin Electric Band after
Ooh.
Chuck, with
Wow,
Stu
okay.
Goldberg, and I don't know who else played. So, and somehow I liked the McLaughlin band better than Peter Gabriel. So that was one thing. The other thing was Santana played, and he had an opening band where he played himself, which was a more jazzy band with a soprano saxophone player. And I was totally blown away by that. But that was so. And then I started listening a lot to Weather Report, was also very strong. But mainly I was reading and in magazines what could be interesting and just trying to do that. And then and later on, I grew up in Hamburg, and later on there was this connection because the public radio in Hamburg, they broadcasted Murs music sometimes. So I listened to Murs music stuff.
Yeah.
And then I got the Murs music CD catalog or LP catalog by that time, actually, where they had all these little labels like what's the name of the little label like from Chicago and these underground labels where I just picked some saxophone records out. For instance, Steve Lacy and Evan Parker together, or what was the other one? Oh, yeah, Robert Saxophone Quartet,
Oh yeah, sure. Larry Ox and these guys. Yeah.
So because it's a saxophone quartet, I had no idea how they sound. I had no idea what they do. I just ordered blind, and I got delivered and listened to it and was completely like, what the fuck is that, So meanwhile, I'm a friend of all of them, so
Sure.
and played with them. So it's quite funny. Yeah, so that was how it started in a way.
Mm. But did you then go through that when you started to play through the school of standards also and
Yes,
playing
yes.
gigs like that? You did? Wow, okay.
I mean, I started in school bands late. I started quite late, but there was still some school bands, and I tried to, and I wanted to play jazz, so I learned even with Jamie Aebersold. I tried to do the Omnibook of Charlie Parker. My first hero
Oh,
was
wow.
Charlie Mariano,
Oh, yeah.
Charlie Mariano. So he was, and so I remember when I saw him the first time, I wanted an autograph. When I saw him the second time, I asked him how he's fingering a high note. The third time, I asked him if he gives me a lesson. And then he was living in Cologne by that time, and I hitchhiked from Hamburg to Cologne to take a lesson with Charlie Mariano.
Oh.
And interesting wise, I rang the door, and his girlfriend opened up, and he said, he's not here, no? And he completely forgot. And so he was at Rainer Brüdinghaus place somewhere nearby. And so I waited in the park. After a few hours, he came, but then was already late. So then I'm not sure if we took that lesson then right away. We maybe did, but then I ended up staying overnight at his place, and he was cooking Indian food, and so it was quite nice. And he didn't charge me anything.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
that was nice. And the same was later on. I got into Steve Lacy, and I went to Paris, take lessons with Lacy.
Oh, really? Oh, man. How was that like?
Interesting. First thing, he was sitting in a chair like this, play a low note. I came with a soprano saxophone, of course. Okay, play a note in the middle register. Play a note in the high register. And then I think you should play softer reeds. Because he plays the softest piece ever. Anyway, and then I started. I asked questions, and I came up with piles of transcriptions, and then slowly he, got more, and then he showed me his stuff and like stuff I transcribed, and then he showed me the original of some pieces. And then we went to a coffee shop and so, no. And at the end, I remember like I asked him how much he wants, and then he looked at what do you have, and I opened my wallet, and he looked at it and said, "It's okay, just keep it."
Oh man, that's nice. That's a nice experience. Beautiful.
And then later on, I remember I had a concert where I played only soprano saxophone with a pianist from Heidelberg, in Heidelberg actually. And he played solo before.
Oh,
Or after, no, I think before. So he was in the audience the whole time when I played soprano saxophone. I was so nervous. And I told him afterwards, and he was at the bar, and then I said, "Ah, man, I was so nervous." And he just looked at me and said, "You have to go through it."
what a dude.
He was quite dry, but interesting.
Yeah, yeah. All these guys, that generation, interesting humor also. I checked some of the records I have with you, and one of the earliest I found was with Klaus König. And
True.
was he important? How was he important for you? Because like in those bands were like, you know, Ray Anderson and Kenny Wheeler, and then Mark Dresser and Mark Feldman later. Like, how did you get into the scene and actually?
I mean, the thing is that Klaus König had a small formation.
Yeah.
And which was a septet before he started with his orchestra stuff. And that was septet out of local people, more or less local people. I was in Cologne already, a student. And I'm not 100% sure, but maybe Theo Jürgensmann recommended me, but I'm not sure because he was looking for somebody, and I did a theater project with Theo Jürgensmann in Hamburg where I was jumping in because there was a dispute and half of the ensemble left, and they looked for a saxophonist in Hamburg, and so they found me, and then I met Theo, but I'm not sure if he was the reason. Anyway, Klaus König asked me if I wanted to play in his band, and I did. And then the large ensemble stuff started, and it was, for me, it was, of course, it was incredibly important because I met all these people and I learned so much from Ray, for instance, or Kenny Wheeler, or I don't know. Well, there's some people I learned from some positive things, from others I learned negative things, you know, because some people were behaving quite snobby of the guests. Not Ray though, and never Kenny, but anyway. And but yeah, and I got this connection to all these people, you know. So that's a very important thing. The connection with Jerry Hemingway started more or less. I mean, I knew Jerry already from Braxton stuff, you know, and also because he was playing with Georg Greve's trio with Ernst Reisinger. I heard him many times, but so when I was on tour with Jerry, and Dieter Manderscheid was on bass, that was how my trio started, because the money I made on the tour I put into a recording session, so I paid everybody and did the first trio recording, which is on Jazz House Music.
Gestalten, right?
Genau,
yeah, I have that one. Yeah, that's nice. That's a beautiful record.
That was so after the tour, we just went into the studio and recorded, and then I wanted to make a tour with the band, but by that time Jerry was still living in New York, and I couldn't get enough gigs to pay the flight and everything, so I canceled and then started over again a year later, and then it worked out, and then the second record has been recorded, got recorded, the Flume Factor. And so that's how it, and then I extended the quartet to the quintet, the trio to a quartet. And actually, my first idea was George Lewis, but he didn't want to play anymore, you know.
Yeah. Oh, but Walter was amazing. I mean, in that band.
And then I got the idea to ask Walter, you know. Yeah, it was perfect. And so that, then we did 3 records and then the double quartet.
Yeah.
And after that, now, so now I start new things.
Yeah. Was it heavy for you to start leading bands? I mean, you had Dieter and Jerry, who I think are slightly older than you. But...
Yeah, Jerry, both they're very supportive, and it's not leading a band. I mean, organizing everything is a lot of work, but especially the double quartet was painful work, you know. But leading a band is not the problem in a way. I mean, I keep things open. I choose. I think the main thing is to make the right choices, who to get into the band. And I have a good hand for that, I think. It's in a way, I'm very careful about that in a way of what can I do with people. And it's always like you have a band and you can do certain things, but you can't do everything. You know, it's like it's Dieter I could write. So I also composed for these people, and for Dieter I could write classical cello parts almost. He's classical trained bass player too, so he played in an orchestra. So and he can play all this weird shit, and he's practicing it. And also I could rehearse with him in Cologne easy then. While the others like Jerry is Braxton trained, so I can give him tons of music, but he might just hit 50% and the rest is whatever, you know, something in between. And Walter is a bit in that direction too. You know, he's always said like, "Can you play that?" And he said, "No, but I can fake it." So I work with that in a way, you know. I remember I wanted once a more complicated odd meter thing, which didn't work at all with that combination. You know? Not so. But anyway, it's interesting to see that.
Yeah.
So yeah, but after 3 records with a quartet, I kind of ran out of ideas what to do with it. So we played occasionally when we got asked, but I didn't push it anymore. So I was looking into other things, playing and also working with younger people.
Yeah, that's important. Yeah, interesting.
And I just started a new quintet, which is we'll play at the Cologne Jazz Week.
Oh, with Ingrid, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Is this going to be like more composed or melodic? Because I saw the players and it's like it's not so much from the free.
Oh, okay. It's the same on the quartet. I mean, the quartet has started free.
Yeah.
With Zubeck, Lantermann, Manik. And I always wanted to do a project with Ingrid quite a long time, but never. I hate organizing shit with overseas situations. I mean, it's like way more.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
So, but last year I got this. I was at this Darmstadt Jazz Symposium, and I got this gig there, and they asked, and I had a carte blanche. So I asked, and I said, maybe I check if Ingrid is around, you know, if she's in Europe, and she was by that time, for funny wise, she was visiting her mother in Münster, and she was available. So she just had to take a train from Münster. So I said, okay, shit, but what band? You know, what to do so much? And then I thought, man, this quartet can really improvise, but they all can read very well too. So I said, that's perfect. So I just said, okay, play some old pieces, mix them. That was mainly we played quartet music. I'm not sure if we did any, and some other newer stuff I did for other combinations. And that's how it started, and I liked it so much that I said, okay, we have to go on. So I basically blew a whole bunch of money to do a recording session in spring, in April, where I paid even the flight for Ingrid and bring her over and do a recording session, like studio one day and then live. And then we played 2 more money concerts actually just to keep going. But yeah, and then luckily, because I was nominated for the German Jazz Prize,
okay.
The organizer from the Cologne Jazz Week, he got me into the, he said, okay, he wanted me on the festival anyway, a project of mine. So I said, okay, that thing, and they can't afford to bring Ingrid over. And then he even brought me to the main stage, which is a radio broadcast house with where the Jazz Prize people get, even because this organization was before the prize was announced. So I didn't get the prize, but I got the gig, which is good, you know.
Which is good, yeah. Interesting. Wow, yeah. Looking forward to the Ingrid one if you're gonna when it comes out. I mean,
I have no idea, because the funny thing is I recorded it in April and I even didn't listen to it. I have this like 60 gigabyte of recordings there with multi-track, but I had no time to even go through it. And so I have the recording, and it's my summer project to go through it and try to make something out of it, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you compose usually? You mentioned composing.
Composing, very different approaches. Sometimes I just sing something on the phone and transcribe it.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm an improviser, let's say I consider myself a better improviser than a composer. So why not taking that advantage and improvise? And singing something is the best way to improvise something, and then transcribe it, and then I mess around with it. Sometimes I take it one by one to one. Sometimes I move it around. That's one way of composing. Sometimes I compose really with a notation program where I do note by note or something. I wrote kind of a study for 8 tones on the saxophone, like microtones, in Corona times, where I basically, I was writing down by hand some rhythms I wanted in the idea, but then I moved the pitches with the software until I liked it.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes I improvise on the keyboard and record it and mess around with it. Sometimes I do statistically stuff, which is so some stuff with the multiple choice orchestra, and also with this Ensemble Modern record. There's some stuff where stuff is, I wrote a computer program which generates the music basically.
Wow, okay.
And partly, and then I use it like patchwork, so I use groups of that aspect. Then I change the density of that part, and I change it. It's a bit Xenakis influence of like working with probability and statistics to generate scores, which sometimes I use for harmonic stuff, spectral analyzations of stuff, which I also use the computer for. I just right now try to learn how a computer starts learning, and it's like the artificial intelligence idea. I want to understand everything from scratch. I don't want to use things, you know. So I build my own algorithms most of the time.
That's quite cool. Yeah.
I did a live electronic project also years ago where I had a saxophone controller mounted on the saxophone, and I programmed 4 times 6 weeks, day and night programming. And but then I don't know, I just dropped it. It's maybe I pick it up eventually. You know, it's something I did. I started in California at the Berkeley University in California at the electronic studio there.
Wow.
Where I used to have like long residencies in California for quite a while, and that's where I met Chris Brown and William Weiner, and so we started a trio where we also played in Donaueschingen, and I met Philip Greenleaf and John Raskin, Rover saxophone quartet, so we did the saxophone trio there, and I met Dave Wessel, who is the pioneer of electronic music, and a good friend of Roscoe Mitchell. So I went to a brunch with Roscoe at Roscoe's, where George Lewis was there. I know these guys.
That's a nice brunch, man.
And I was Joël Leandre was there at Mills College for a while, so we hang out, and Fred Driss, and you know.
Yeah.
So I like California kind of, but I had since Trump I haven't been there anymore.
Yeah, that's a different direction. I know. Yeah. But what's your connection with the USA? I mean, did you ever consider going for a longer time, let's say to Chicago? I mean, I know you did the project with Kessler and Drake and Hamid or New York. I mean, what's your view on the US improvisational scene?
I mean, there's good players.
Yeah.
Everywhere is good players. And I mean, Ingrid lives in New York, and it's not that. I mean, there's enough good players in Germany. It's just something. If I look at a saxophonist, and I don't know, I just like Ingrid. Maybe she's Braxton trained, and we have this relationship. It's very easy to connect. We have this kind of a similar language in a certain way, and that's what I liked. And so, but I mean, I was never drawn into the idea of moving to the US or even being there part-time. I hate the border and I hate political stuff there. And I don't like New York very much because it's too packed. People
Yeah.
try to survive by, the rent is insane. It's too many people. I mean, I'm old now and I like countryside, I don't. California is relaxed. I like it more. Also, Chicago is a bit more relaxed than New York,
New York, yeah.
But I'm not into cities anymore. I don't know. It's too many people, too much. I mean, I see cities when I'm on the road, but that's why I eventually might move to the countryside anyway and have this farm where we just get this problem there.
Yeah, yeah, I hear you. The last time I went to New York, I loved it. I went every year, and 5 years ago I went. I was like, shit, I really wanted to leave. It was just too much. Like
It's too many people. It's dirty.
Yeah,
it's too
dense,
expensive.
nervous.
What do you want to? Who said that? Was Derek Bailey? He said he doesn't understand why people want to live in New York, like paying $2,000 for a rent, to live there and just spending all the time to make that rent, but have no time for other things anymore. It's much easier to get something. I mean, I know so many people from New York who moved to Berlin, Andrew Harkins or Chris Piziokas or something, They couldn't do anything that much there. I mean, and it's just there's so many more possibilities here in Germany in order to I mean, it gets worse definitely in the next years, I'm sure about that, but you can make your life by doing the music you want to do, which is a privilege which I don't know anywhere else on the planet in a way. I mean, there's definitely other countries like Norway or wherever you can do that, but in general, I don't know where it should be any better than here at the moment,
Yeah, Berlin is, it's amazing. Yeah.
It's like,
I mean, Germany in general.
Berlin, Germany, Cologne has even better situation, is better situated than Berlin in a way, But it's in general, this is possible in Germany, and I can do what I want, and I don't need to do commercial stuff, and which I have done when I had to feed the family, and I had. So that in a way, I consider myself being very blessed and in heaven to be able to do that because I don't own it by work. I mean, of course, I work my ass off to have that position, but being born in Germany is not something I own or what I gained by myself. It's just pure luck, And I'm very thankful for that, and also aware of that. This is not, I should be thankful for that, and I should, see that it's not the, other people. I have friends living in my flat and from Beirut, and stories there. It's like, or just look to Africa or wherever, Palestine.
Yeah. That's
whole world is getting crazy. So that's a different subject.
That's a different subject. Yeah. Frank, I wanted to just ask you this also. How did you? I think you have a special connection with piano players also. I mean, I checked some of the albums I have, and Georg Greve and Achim Kaufmann, and with Misha you also played, I think. And
with Misha, I played.
How important were all these players for you? I mean, especially Georg. I think he was quite. I don't know. You did the trio with Paul Lovens and.
Yeah, I mean, Georg was. I still work with him. He lives in Vienna.
Oh, really?
Now.
Okay.
Yeah. He has this. It's called the Sonic Fiction Orchestra, and I'm a member of that. And we do some concerts in November, I think.
Oh, fantastic.
In Vienna and Graz, and he did a recording with that, but I don't know where that is available.
I'll check it out.
Acoustic. But Georg was very important. So when I was young, I started, I think it's my second record or third, I don't know. That's maybe my second record was a duo with Georg Greve, Vicissitudes.
Okay, I have to find this one.
It's also on Random Acoustics. So that was And I remember, and I became a member of the Grubenklang Orchestra, which was where I met Phil Minton, Matthew Matos,
All these guys. Yeah.
John Butcher, Jerry was also there, but the people I met, like mainly the British improvisers, a lot of Phil Waxman and all these people, I met through that, and I did my first overseas trip to the Vancouver Jazz Festival with the Grubenklang Orchestra.
Really? Oh wow. Okay.
I was Pan Am, where it was even allowed to smoke on the flight.
Wow.
That's quite a while ago.
That's yeah.
So, and then with Georg, I started this whole US connection because he was touring there, and we did a duo tour there. And then we went to Chicago and we did the recording with the quartet.
Okay, that's how that happened. Okay.
Yeah, and then we toured with that quite often. And we were even there September 11. We were on tour actually, and we were in Boston when it happened.
Okay.
So that's so Georg was a very, very, very important, almost influence for me in a way of like I learned also a lot from Georg. Like he's a complete Schoenberg maniac, and which you can hear when you listen closely. And so his stuff, he turned me into Tristano's music.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so he, and I learned a lot about his stuff, which I didn't learn in the school. I mean, I started doing a Tristano ensemble in the school because nobody taught me Tristano while I was a student. But I think if you study jazz, you should know about Lenny Tristano.
Oh, sure, of course. Yeah.
So yeah, he was very important and still a friend, and still work together eventually. And I did the festival in Berlin, the series where with Achim Kaufmann together, and we invited Georg's quintet trio with Ernst Reise and Jerry Hemingway, which was, they had this kind of, I think, 20 years or 30 years jubilee, and that was the only gig they had that year.
Oh shit, man. That's heavy.
Yeah, so because nobody, so yeah, so that he was a strong influence. And then Achim, I knew Achim, I studied together with Achim. He was
Yeah, he's your generation. Yeah.
he was 1 year ahead. But when I did my audition, I was staying at Achim Kaufmann's place. He was living together with Thomas Heberer, who plays with the ICP Orchestra in New York now. So I was staying at their place because I played in the standard band with Thomas Heberer together by that time. So I met Achim, and we played already as students together. But then he was more in the straight ahead way than
in the
I
beginning.
was.
Yeah.
So kind of it went apart. And then he moved to Amsterdam, which changed him in a way completely, I would say, opened him up, or so changed his view, let's say. And we came together again when he got the jazz prize, the SVR Jazz Prize. I played a duo set with him.
Mm-hmm.
He asked me if I want to play a duo set with him, so I played one set duo. And then out of that, the idea of the trio with Wilbert started.
Wilbert, yeah.
Yeah, because it was quite interesting. The radio guy from the new music department, because the radio guy from the jazz department was sick. He was there, won the prize, and he liked the duo so much. He said, "Oh, but you should do with a bass player maybe." And then he got us a radio gig, which is actually the first record of the trio. We got from that concert. And so that's how and because I played with Achim a lot, and he was still in Amsterdam by that time, and I played a lot with him in Amsterdam at Saal 100, which is like this kind of place concert, together with partly also with Michael Batcher on drums. But so that's, and with Wilbert, I knew Wilbert before, because with Wilbert there was this moment, I call it love from the first note. I was subbing in Dutch band, Michiel Braam Quintet, I think, when he got the Boy Edgar Prize, which is a big prize in Holland. And I didn't know Michiel at all, and but it was funny, I got recommended from 2 different persons, and he looked for an alto player because his main alto player couldn't do it for some reason. So and it was this radio recording, and I played, and it was a quintet with him, I think Martin France and Ian Bellamy. So it was completely
Wow.
weird connection.
Wow. Interesting
Weird,
lineup.
weird.
Wow.
Oh, and I still remember, so after the concert, and it was during the concert already, like I played and I was like, who's that guy, the bass player? No? And he had the same to me. No? And after the gig, we were sitting together and said, we have to play more together, but different music. That was the moment. And then it was like, since then, it's like with Wilbert, it was immediately this connection.
Yeah.
So, and since then we play together, and that's so there was obvious, and then the trio started with Achim and Wilbert, which is for me, let's say, my main improvising band.
Yeah. It's a completely improvising unit. Yeah.
It's complete improvised, and it's for me the best I know. I mean, it's never a doubt. Never. We did 13 concerts in a row where one was not as good as the others, I would say, for different reasons. But it's fantastic. I mean, every time we play, it's fresh, and that we do it since, I don't know, 25 years or something.
How do you keep it fresh?
Don't think.
Yeah. It's because it's heavy, right? Sometimes it's when you're on the road for 2 weeks,
No,
let's say.
it depends on the mindset. What Wilbert calls it, get out of the comfort zone.
Yeah.
It's the main thing is not getting into things you do anyway. So try to go step across the border.
Yeah.
Like it's like this. I still remember one concert which was fantastic. It was a Seattle Jazz Festival, Earshot Jazz Festival. And Wilbert and I started, and we played it like okay, that always works, something like that, And Achim came in just with 2 chords or something, and Wilbert and I looked at each other. Okay, message received, because he just said like, with music, I mean, we can really communicate with notes. He said, no, folks, that's too easy, and he compromised what we did just with 2 chords, It's like, and that's how it works. I mean, there's this message. Yeah, we can just communicate with notes, where there's very clear what's going on. And if it's not clear, it's fine too, because it's clear that it's not clear. It's part of it. It's like, okay, no, we don't take that ending from the beginning. No? So, I mean, the very first record is a bit edited, I think, because we ran into dead ends sometimes or things like that. But from that moment on, it never happened again. I mean, I think all the later records is all we just choose what not to take because it's too much for recording or whatever. So
yeah,
we have more stuff already in the pipeline, but just we can't release it. It's too much.
Yeah.
Just had this like with Achim, we played a tour last year, little one, and we played one concert with an upright piano, and it sounded so shitty. But then we have a very bad recording of it. But Achim said, "Man, this is fantastic music. Maybe we should do a recording with an upright." So,
yeah, beautiful.
So it's that trio is special, and now we extended sometimes. We did this quartet with Tony Bach, and there's different extensions we used,
Yeah.
So
fantastic.
But the trio itself has a chemistry which is, in a way, as soon as somebody comes to it, comes on top of it, it's not as fast anymore. It's not as the changes, the fast reaction. It becomes different stuff.
Yeah, it's heavy for the 4th person entering sometimes, probably.
Yeah, it is.
Because
I mean, I remember,
yeah,
when we were touring with Tony the first time, he had a hard time in a way. I said, man, it's so good how to find my way to sneak in and something.
Yeah, amazing.
So that's that trio, yeah. So the art is very important. Yeah, I play with Simon Nabatov. I play since 30.
Oh,
I mean, we play with Klaus König already together, and we just work on. We have already a new. We did the 2nd duo record, which is which came out on Clean Feet.
Yeah, the Tender Mercies. Yeah, that's a nice one.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a new recording already, which we just decided the order of it, but we think, do we still have to mix it, or the rough mix is enough, and we don't know where to release it because there's other stuff going on.
Yeah, you have like 20 records per year or something, which is okay. There's no rules anymore. Anyway,
something I learned from Steve Lacy.
That's good. You document it, and that's
I
important.
tried to have all Steve Lacy records for a while, but I failed, and I just gave up eventually.
Yeah, or Braxton is the same, or all of these guys. It's like
Yeah.
insane. Yeah, fantastic, man. Frank, you mentioned the Cologne Jazz Week, the new album, and what's still on the schedule for you for this year?
For this year, there's a tour with Kazoo, the Japan tour with Kazoo. There is this Cologne Jazz Week thing where there's different things I'm playing on.
Oh, really? Okay.
I play in Groningen with Simon Nabatov on the Feats tour, the last Feats tour. And we play duo, and the rest I have to look into my calendar. I have to finish the production. I'm focusing also on composition more. I'm at the moment writing a recorder solo piece
Wow.
for a recorder player, so contemporary music recorder stuff. And I also maybe try to get the Ensemble Modern on stage again, the project.
Yeah, that's a beautiful record, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, I love what you did. Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, so I want to do more of that, and I'm also in contact with another contemporary music ensemble from Cologne to do a project for that with them. So, but that I want to do fall next year, because I want to have time to work with every player and go more in deep connection with them, and then writing for the people.
Yeah.
Also, I think about somehow, I have no idea how, but I think the music has to become a bit more political. It's time to
poke a little bit. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's like, I don't know how and what, but it's a thing where what I'm thinking of. And then I mean, there's so many different things I have. I play with Sebi Tramontana and Jelena Kulic. We do something like improvised music, but then also using Ellington tunes inside that.
Really?
So she's using
Oh, wow.
poetry. And I have actually even more. I have an Ellington project with Achim Kaufmann and Jelena.
Really?
Which I don't know if we release it, because she was a bit sick and she's not having her voice. We love the music, but we do it again. We have some concerts next year coming up.
Wow.
So we just totally more or less straight ahead. I don't want to bend it too much, because I love the music of Ellington on Strayhorn too much that I think it's beautiful like it is. Why should I make it out, you know? It's it's more like a to honor these people and to make beautiful music out of it. So that's part, but then the contemporary composing, then I want to write a new program for the quintet with Ingrid, which is, of course, now I have to do this recording with what we had, but mainly I used all the pieces for that and rewrote them or changed some stuff. But I would love to write a complete program, also use more microtonality, because Ingrid is also quite good at it, and but I need time to work on that. And so I have all these ideas, and I don't know. I look at my calendar, what's going on this year. Good question.
That's a lot, man. That's already this is like crazy.
I play solo in Frankfurt, but also with Fred Fritz.
Wow, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's a festival in solo, and also so there's like 5 soloists or 6, I don't know, forgot. So everybody plays the solo, and then they play together. We play together, and I know that Fred Fritz is there, Michael Riesler is there, Maria Portugal is there. I don't know, some people. Yeah, so that would be directly from Japan. I fly from Japan directly to Frankfurt to do that. So
wow,
crazy.
Okay.
So that's, and then let's see what else. Yeah, the Georg Greve project. Then I have a few concerts with Klaus Kugel and Tony and also Tobias Delius, Peter
Wow.
Herb.
Really?
And
Wow.
yeah, and then I do maybe a little do with Silat Melsai,
Oh yeah,
viola.
Silat. I know. I've played with him. Yeah, many times.
So we do a little duo, maybe tour. It seems like in Serbia, maybe.
Wow. Yeah.
Well, he's on it, and I try to fix something, and that's already December. Let's see what's there. That's the Seat stuff. Then I play. Yeah, I play with different single
Yeah, yeah.
gigs. I
Fantastic.
play with Simon, a few duo concerts, and I do workshop in Tallinn if everything works out.
Wow.
Yeah, and
Super
then
busy.
the years. So basically, yeah, I don't really push things too much in the way of getting on tour all the time. I don't know. I like to compose more, actually. Think about music because somehow there's in that field there's a lot of stuff I can explore which I haven't done so far, and even that's why I'm also I'm learning on how AI functions, and there's this kind of artificial neural networks. And so I'm trying to understand that topic a bit more and get into that. I don't know if I can use it or not, but it's something I'm just interested in
Interesting.
using also the computer for stuff. And so but that's mainly what I'm doing at the moment. It's enough.
That's a lot. Yeah, it's enough. It's a lot. Yeah. Fantastic. Beautiful.
I'm still teaching Cologne at the conservatory, so I have to do that too.
Yeah.
I try not to be on the road all the time because in spring it was crazy. The last months, a few months that my partner already she doesn't see me at all anymore. So
Yeah. It's heavy. I know. But fantastic. I hope you make it to Maribor soon. Then we can hang
yeah,
again and have a beer together or something. Or play, whatever.
who's organizing concerts there?
Oh, it's Davids. It's still doing it, but he does only like 5, 6 per year. There's no budget anymore, so it's like really. That's it in Maribor, actually. That's the only gig you can get.
Yeah. So I have to check if I have David's actual contact.
Yeah. Otherwise, I can send it to you. The one that I have.
That would be nice.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So fantastic. Cool, Frank.
Yeah.
I'll leave you a nice Tuesday afternoon. But
Thank
thanks
you,
for sharing some of these thoughts, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and have a good day.
Yeah, you too. And hope to see you soon.
Yeah, cool.
Dr. Jazz.